Forex trader Tom here, and I am with you for the next 45 minutes. And in those 45 minutes, we are going to do the following, guys. We're going to do some in-depth market analysis to show you which trades that I am looking at. I'm actually in a couple of trades, so we'll take a look at why I am in those trades. We're also going to look at the news because we have this data coming out. Let me just quickly pop to the economic calendar, right? So we've got retail sales and some employment data coming out at past. Also, guys, we are going to take as many of your questions as possible. So don't be shy. Come say hello in the live chat. Leave a question. And like I say, we'll answer as many as we can, guys. All right. So that is the plan of attack. If that sounds good, then happy days. Let's start with all the trades that I'm looking at today. So maybe you do know, maybe you don't. If you don't, this is our trading community, right? And this is the free Discord channel, guys. And this is where I put all of my trade ideas for today, right? Now, obviously, I'm not going to take all these trades. I trade the ones that give me a setup. And it just so happens I have had a setup on New Zealand dollar, US dollar today, right? And then what I do, guys, is in the VIP Discord, I let you know exactly where we entered, all right? So this is New Zealand dollar, US dollar sell trade, 15th of May, and I took this earlier today. All right, so let's understand this trade and why I took it. We'll do that first, and then we'll take as many of your questions as we can, guys. All right, I've got my vodka, I've got my charts. What else do we need? So New Zealand dollar, US dollar, right? It's again, what I'm going to show you guys is quite logical, right? It's just a lot of it's common sense, right? So the day chart, we are here, right? So we are in a downtrend. We're getting lower lows and potentially, well, these highs never broke and potentially lower highs, right? So we're in a downtrend. I want to sell, right? On the day chart, we're also coming below the moving average 20, and we've literally just bounced off the moving average 20, which acts as dynamic resistance in this case, right? So like trend and structure, like the moving average 20, I like this big bearish candle, and I like the amount of room we have to move into. We have room to move in back down to these lows. That will be my first target. And if not, we can let some profit run all the way down to here, right? So that's the trade in terms of the day chart. So that's why I'm looking for sells. And then all I do during the day, guys, right, is, take a look at H4 and H1. And then I'm looking for a candle that tells me I can enter, right? And it was actually, now it's important to point this out, guys, because if we look at the H4, we are in an uptrend, okay? But because of that nice because of the daily chart, really, it's so nice. It's so nicely set up for a sell. I simply saw this big bearish H4 candle, right? It broke these lows, and then I got into the trade, right? If we drop down to the H1 now, so when I get to the charts, guys, I saw this big H4 candle, right? And then I went to the H1, okay? And I said to myself, right, if it breaks this low, okay, I will get into this trade. And it did. I know it bounced back up, but I started selling in here, right? I put my stop up here, okay, or hedge, whatever you use. Here's my stop loss. And then all I'm trying to do, guys, is take price back down to these lows in here, right? And basically get my 1:1 happy days, right? So, so far, so good. We're in profit. We'll just need to see, like I say, guys, we've got this news coming out at 1/2 the hour, right? So it'd be important to see, sorry, we've got more than that, right? We've got loads of news coming out, right? all the way down to there. So we need to see what all this news is going to do. And when you have this amount of news, you know, when it all comes out, the US dollar is going to be a little bit confused because there's going to be some news better than expected, some worse, some as expected, and it will take a while to, you know, digest all of this news. But, you know, obviously we want US dollar strength to continue, right? So yeah, there you go, guys. I'm in New Zealand dollar, US dollar sells, and I entered an Aussie dollar Swiss franc buy trade yesterday, and this is hanging on a bit, to be quite frank. So my stop was literally here, right? So we'll see how price reacts at these lows. I want to see buyers start coming into this market, but yeah, looking a little ominous with this candle. All right, so yeah, that's what I'm in this week. And you know, to be honest with you guys, I haven't, because the market opened so crazily on Monday. We had these huge gap ups, and it's just meant that I haven't traded that much this week. The market's been a little bit tricky as a result of all those gap ups and gap downs, and you know, I've just stayed away from the market for that reason, right? Remember, you don't have to trade, right? I know a lot of new traders feel compelled to trade. They're like, right, I'm a trader, I'm going to trade. But it's not the way to approach it, right? You just wait for your setups. So yeah, I'm still conscious of this gap getting filled. And if it does, then obviously, you know, I will be stopped out of my trade. But if it does hold at these lows and starts moving up, then great. So that's me, guys. That is what I am looking at. But let's take a look at the live chat now and see what you guys are up to. Right. Dank, Tom, good afternoon. Daniel from Nigeria, good afternoon. Let me think of a very famous Nigerian player, JJ Okocha. I always used to remember him. Very good Nigerian player. Mikel, he was another good Nigerian player. I'm talking football. Raymond, how's it going? I'm very well, Raymond. How are you? Lily, hi, Lily, the lady with the questions. Welcome back, Lily. How are you? Brett, how are you, mate? Right, so Daniel from Nigeria. Good afternoon, Tom. I have a very important question, but it's long. It's too long for the live stream. So Daniel, maybe join our free Discord, right? You'll find a link on our channel, and then leave the question in our free Discord, right? It's free, just join it, and then I will look at that question in a live stream. So do that, Daniel. Right, what else are we looking at? Luigi, how are you? Janish, how are you, Janish? Parandeep. Okay, so we've got a few comments here already. So Janish wants to look at pound yen. The chart is making an evening star. Okay, we'll take a look at that. And Parandeep thinks the US dollar is going to tank now, Tom. And when you mean tank, you mean US dollar weakness? Is that what you mean? Now, obviously, we've got some news coming out at hour, so that's going to have a big deciding factor. But what I'm seeing across all of the charts is US dollar strength. But we've got news coming out, right? So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the dollar. Right, Janish, let's have a look at pound yen. Before I do, let me quickly have a drink. And if I could please ask everyone while I have a drink to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and if everyone could please smash the like button. Right, pound yen. Now, before we look at pound yen, actually, right, let me just show you this. Now, where's the indices gone? There we go. Right, get my eyes in. Now, when the indices are doing this, right, the flight to safeties are weak, right? And we've been seeing that. So let's look at pound yen. And we've been seeing that with every yen pair. So look, you know, as the market's gone up, look at the yen pairs, right? Pound yen is no exception. So that direct correlation between indices pushing up means flight to safeties are weak. If the indices are dropping, the flight to safeties are strong, right? I'm sure you're all aware of that correlation. If not, you bloody well should be, right? But it doesn't. So we know yen is weak, right? Well, it has been, but it doesn't matter, because when you find an area of resistance like we are with pound yen, the market obeys it, right? So this is a yen selling level, right? This is yen strength. This is a pound yen selling level, right? So it doesn't matter, you know, how strong those indices are. Yen has been shooting up, but if it hits resistance, it will react. It just will react, right? Now, every time you hit a piece of resistance or support, obviously the question is, how much will it react, right? And then the candles tell you that. For example, if the weekly candle finished like that, I would want to sell pound Japanese yen, right? You know, and also from a macro point of view, guys, we know why yen has been weak, because Trump and his tariffs, and China and America have started, you know, at least talking about tariffs, and they've reduced some of their tariffs, right? So that's bullish for the indices. But, you know, let's be honest, that these tariffs are not going away, right? So, you know, this is not going to be, oh, the tariffs are gone, you know, yen weakness forever, right? It doesn't work like that. And especially when we're at a resistance level. So never, no matter how much you like, right? If you go to the day chart, no matter how much you want to buy pound yen, don't buy into this level, right? It's just madness. Don't do it. You know, look, sellers have come in, right? It's a selling level. Now, interestingly, right, pound yen in particular, right, we're in an uptrend. In fact, let's do this accurately, right? This is the structure of the market. Now, there is a level, what was once this high, right? There's a bit of a level through here, right? What was once resistance, when it retraces, becomes good support. So, you know, the question is, if we get a nice reaction at this level, would you be interested in buying? And the answer is still no. I don't want to buy into a resistance level, right? Okay, so it's difficult to trade pound yen. If anything, I want to sell pound yen. But again, I'm not going to sell into this support level. And if we do get a bullish bounce, something like this, I'm not going to buy into that resistance level, right? So what you might find with pound yen, and a lot of the yen pairs, to be fair, because a lot of them are at weekly levels, right? You're going to find a weekly sellers at resistance, and you're going to still see daily buyers because you're in an uptrend, right? So what if you have those kinds of firstly, if you have those two forces acting on a currency pair, I don't want to trade it, right? I'll be like, next. Yeah, I just don't want to trade it. And what will usually happen is buyers, sellers, and it becomes a bit sideways until you get a break one way or the other. And that's what I'll be waiting for, pretty much. It's the same with any yen pair, pretty much, right? If you go to the weekly chart, okay, just plot structure. Yeah, I'm going to say that. So we're in an uptrend with with euro yen, higher lows, higher highs, but we are clearly at a resistance level. See how I did that per syllable? Right, we're at a resistance level. Look at the reaction we're getting, right? And bear in mind, it's Thursday, right? We've only got one more trading day. So chances are this weekly candle, unless something very drastic happens, will look very bearish. And so a lot of these yen pairs are looking like sell trades to me, not buy trades. Let's have a look at another one. Let's have a look at Aussie dollar yen. There you go, weekly chart, right? We are in a downtrend. We've come all the way back to this last level of what was once support became resistance. We're at the moving average 20 as well. And again, look at the reaction we're getting with these yen pairs. So the way it's shipping up, I'm looking at yen strength and therefore selling Aussie dollar yen, pound yen, euro yen. But obviously, you know, I want to see that set up on the day chart. And what that would look like on the day chart with any of these yen pairs, what that would look like is this, right? We start seeing a daily uptrend. It perhaps, you know, we know that's good support. Price could react here. And then it ends up doing something like this and then breaks a level, right? Moving average 20 does this, comes round. I would be all over selling that. All right, so yeah, yen is looking more of a sell trade than a buy trade right now. Right, what else are we looking at? Christina Vega. Hello, Christina. How are you? Scott, how are you, mate? Daniel, you deserve all what it takes, Tom. You great analyst to me because you share exactly what to use and you do before you take the trade. Exactly, Daniel. Yeah, you know, it's no secret what I do, right? It's just price action. It's looking at facts on a chart, using those facts to make informed trading decisions. And I openly share my trade ideas. And actually in the VIP Discord, I give you my entries, stop losses, take profits, everything. All right, so go check it out. So yeah, while we're at it, guys, if you haven't already, please come join our trading community, right? We have a free Discord channel. It's totally free, right? You can speak to like-minded traders, share knowledge, ideas. I give you my trade ideas in there as well every day. And also right now, if you sign up with our free Discord, we will give you a 50% off coupon for our complete trading course. No brainer. Go do it. Also, guys, if you want access to all of our premium trading education, which includes our Simply Forex complete trading course, also my mentorship program where I coach you one-on-one, and access to our VIP Trading Academy, then please go check out our website, www.simply-forex.com. And finally, guys, if you look above my head, today's live stream is brought to you by Pepperstone, a world-class broker that is compatible with TradingView. And if you sign up and open an account with Pepperstone today, we will give you free access to the VIP Trading Academy. And Pepperstone will give you a free Essential TradingView subscription. Again, no brainer. What are you waiting for? Sign up. Right. Thank you for your kind words, Daniel, by the way. Lily, do you ever feel the fear of increasing position size even when your system gives the green light? That's a good question. You always have good questions, Lily, I must say. So your question here is really, you know, if you get a really top-notch A1 setup, will you increase risk? Basically, is what you're saying. You increase the position size, you're increasing risk, right? So that's what it is, right? If I get a very good setup, do you increase risk? The answer is no. However, what I will do, right, is this, and it sort of edges my bets a bit, shares the risk a little bit. So, for example, right, I am in New Zealand dollar, US dollar. and I'm selling, right? And price continues to come down and, you know, hopefully hit target. Now, again, if we just go back to here, right? Now, let's go back to my trades that I put in the free Discord, right? So you can see with my trades, the top 5 trades, right? It's all US dollar strength. Okay. Now, that in itself is confluence for me, right? If I'm seeing US dollar strength on enough currency pairs, chances are US dollar will be strong. So this is what I will do, right? So now let's say I've entered New Zealand dollar, US dollar, and I'm selling from here, right? And I've put my stop loss here, and this is 1%, right? Now, I also like Euro US dollar, okay? So what I would do, okay, I would actually be waiting for a break of this level, right? Because H4 structure's not confirmed, right? So if I get a break of these lows, right, I will start selling, okay? Now, please bear in mind, I'm also in New Zealand dollar, US dollar, and I would put my stop loss up here, and I would enter this for another 1%. So I would do that. And basically, I am increasing my position on US dollar strength, right? Yeah, but obviously I want to see what the news does, but I'm just answering your question. So what I wouldn't do, I wouldn't double up on New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Like if I really like the setup, I won't do a 2% trade on New Zealand dollar, US dollar sells. But what I will do is risk 2%, which is double my normal risk, right? By entering Euro US dollar sells as well, right? So when you're in that situation, share the risk. If you really like US dollar strength, you can double up, but share the risk. Because what you'll find is this as well, right? You'll find Euro US dollar breaks this, right? Breaks this, and then it just does this, right? So one of your trades does that, okay? And then the New Zealand dollar, US dollar trade goes, hits target and does that, right? So it's even not a bad idea to do it as a bit of a strategy, because you always get one US dollar pair that flies off, right? It's usually the one you don't choose, right? So yeah, you could, you know, or if you didn't want to increase risk, you can do 0.5% risk on New Zealand dollar, US dollar, and 0.5% risk on Euro US dollar, right? But in this scenario, I would risk 2% on US dollar strength, but I won't be doing that before the news, right? Let's see, as I told you guys, in 7 minutes, we have a shed load of news coming out. And I mean a shed load. But that's all US dollar data. And after that, we've got Fed Chair Powell speaking. So I will wait for all of this to happen. If I'm still in the New Zealand US dollar trade or it's hit target, I will definitely look to enter one of the other US dollar pairs if it sets up. All right. So yeah, Lily, I hope that answers your question. Okay, we've got another question here. Okay, so Daniel's asking, is Pepperstone international broker to Africa? Yes, I believe so, Daniel. Yeah, I believe so. The editor deals with all of that, but I'm pretty sure, yeah. Like I say, come join our free Discord, Daniel, right? You've got all the information you need in there. So just join our free Discord and you can ask us questions, right, about anything you're interested in. Right. Lily's got a question here as well. Let's just say hello to a few people. Aya, afternoon, hiya. I like Euro US dollar. Sells or buys, Aya? Okay, and Daniel, I've just answered that question as well. Is it if it's clear price action, is it a good idea to increase your trade size. So I've just been answering that with Lily, and I've explained the scenario where I will do that. So yeah. Yeah, so any of the US dollar pairs really at the moment. US dollar CAD, I like. Euro US dollar sells. If it breaks this level, I like this, and it may well do. It may take some news. Pound US dollar, I like. Again, I would probably wait for a break of this low. Yeah, because H4 structure is a little unsure, right? This is sort of H4 structure at the moment. Really an uptrend. Higher highs, higher lows. But if we break this low here, right, then very much interested in selling pound US dollar. Let's do a couple of eyes. Smiley arrow face. Got to get out more. Right, Lily's got a question here as well. So we've got a few minutes before the news, so let's go for it. How do you personally deal with a trade that's followed your system perfectly, but still ends in a loss? Now, I have no problem with that, right? So this is a important point as well, right? So there are things called good unsuccessful trades and bad unsuccessful trades, right? So let me explain what I mean. So a good unsuccessful trade is, I followed my itchy head. I followed my system perfectly. I really liked the setup. I took the trade, right? I ticked every box when it comes to my strategy and my risk management. Excuse me. I had chocolate hobnobs again, my kryptonite. And I followed, psychologically, I was all fine and everything, right? Now, if I enter that trade and it's a losing trade, I will lose no sleep whatsoever, right? Totally fine, because all I can do as a trader is follow my plan. In fact, that's what makes a good trader, following your plan to the letter, right? If I do that, then happy days, right? I think I might be getting stopped out of that trade. Okay. So if I do that, then happy days, right? Now, if I enter a trade and perhaps it ticked 50% of my boxes in terms of the strategy, I maybe risked too much, I wasn't in a good psychological headspace to trade, right? If I've taken a trade like that, that is a bad trade. And ironically, a bad trade can still work out. But I hope for your sake it doesn't work out, right? Because it will create bad habits. So every time you make a mistake, I hope you get punished. This may sound nasty, but it's a good thing, trust me, because if you get away with something once in the markets, you'll do it again. So no problem with that, right? I know I am wrong roughly 40% of the time, right? I have a 60% win rate on average over the year, right? So I know I'm wrong 40%. And long as I traded my system and performed well, then no problem with that whatsoever. It's the bad trades you've got to avoid, right? But as you get more experienced and become a better trader, that's basically half the battle, cutting out the mistakes, right? So yeah, there you go, Lily. Right, I've just been yes, we've got 30 seconds before the news comes out. We will play Guess the News game. Let's go to my New Zealand dollar, US dollar sell trade. This is not far off target. What I'm actually going to do is take a little bit of profit off. 1 second, guys. So I'm just going to take a little bit of profit off, guys, and then move my stop to break even. Okay. All right. So it's a risk-free trade now. Okay. So let's see what the news does. So let's have a look at the H1. So it's a bit more immediate. Okay, why do we have... Right. Don't know why I have an alarm on there. Let's have a look at... So initially, right, we're seeing a bit of US dollar weakness, right? We are. Let's have a look at a few other pairs. US dollar, okay. So like I say, there's a lot of news to digest here. So very much indifferent, right? There's no US dollar strength or weakness as yet. Let's have a look at pound US dollar. Okay, so that is US dollar weakness. Let's have a look at euro US dollar weakness. Let's have a look at Aussie dollar US dollar weakness. So I'm going to say the majority of the news was worse than expected. This is my Columbo Sherlock Holmes moment where I get egg on my face. Yeah, a lot of it is worse than expected, right? Look at all that red. Okay, so let's count up the reds. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reds. 1, 2, 3, 4 green. Sorry, that is not Canadian. That's Canadian dollar. So yeah, the majority of the news is worse than expected. Are there some big misses? That is a big miss. That is minus 0.4% from 0.3. That is a big miss, right? That's a little bit better than expected, not much. That's a little miss, not a huge miss. This is big though. Small miss, right? That is a lot better than expected, right? Big miss, big miss, big miss, small gain. So really, that should be US dollar weakness, really. Let's go back. Pretty indifferent, right? It's not having a massive reaction. Okay, if anything, a little bit of US dollar weakness in the market. Okay, so yeah, I'm not gonna, you know, like I say, guys, if I've taken off some profit down here, my entry was in here, right? If it comes up and takes me out, no problem. I've already made some profit on this trade. All right, so let's see. Right, guys, what else do we want to look at? Should we have a look at CAD, actually? There was some CAD news there, right? Yeah, so we had wholesales better than expected, and we had housing starts 15 minutes ago. So that's quite bullish Canadian dollar. Let's have a look at some non-US pairs. CAD Chief, not much happening there. Not much happening there. Not much, no CAD strength whatsoever. The problem with CAD at the moment is oil, right? Oil has had a big sell-off, right? We was, you know, getting this oil strength, and then bang, we've had a real sell-off on oil. So this will lead to some Canadian dollar weakness as well. Yeah. Okay then, guys. Parandeep, I told you, Tom. You cannot guess the news, Parandeep, unless you have a crystal ball. And if you do, please share your crystal ball with me, and I will become an overnight millionaire. But you can't. It's just news, right? You might as well flip a coin. Yeah. Before that news, I could have said US dollar would be bullish. Mark my words. And if it was bullish, I'll look like a genius, right? But it could equally be super weak, right? That's news. And you never know how the market's going to digest news. Sometimes better than expected news leads to a weak US dollar, right? It's really effed up. Right. Have we got any other questions in here, guys? So I wanted to look at euro US dollar. I mean, it is a trade that I'm looking at, but this news might scupper this trade. Because what I'm looking at here, guys, let me put an alarm in here. Because what I'm looking at is basically this, right? So on the H4, again, we are in a downtrend, right? Lower highs, lower lows. But now we've got this level here that has put things into a little bit of down, right? But if Euro US dollar does this and breaks that low, sets off my alarm, I will start selling in there, right? Stops above here and then look to take price back down to these lows. Yeah, there's enough room in there to get my at least 1:1. That would play out nicely. But, you know, what we're seeing is US dollar weakness right now. Right, what else are we looking at? Right, what other question here? So we've got a question here from Daniel. Tom, if news come out like this, okay, so if news comes out like this and it's worse than expected, can we still stick to Euro US dollar sells? Because it's clearly weak. So yes, right? So news has come out. Okay, so it's a good question, right? Now, all I'm seeing, if I go to the day chart, right, I am seeing Euro US dollar downtrend, right? Clearly, lower highs, lower lows, right? We're clearly in a downtrend. And we had a nice big bearish candle yesterday. So through simple price action, I'm looking at sells potentially all the way down to these lows, if not further, right? And that's, you know, that's before any news comes out. This is what I do every morning, right? And I'm looking at this chart and that's what I'm thinking. Then I'm looking for a setup. And this happened yesterday, right? So nothing changes, right? I know news has just come out and it's worse than expected for the US dollar. But if the US dollar shakes off that news, right, and we still get a break of this low, then I still have a setup, regardless of what news has happened before. I'm not going to jump in on a trade when news has just come out, right? I'm not going to do that, right? But if this Euro US dollar breaks these lows, right, then yeah, I will still sell Euro US dollar. And if this news that's just come out means further US dollar weakness and Euro US dollar does this, then I'm not interested anyway. Yeah, I'm not a reactive trader, and neither should you be, right? This is a really good point, right? You should plan your trade ahead of time. So that was my plan with Euro US dollar, right? If it breaks this level, I have a trade. A very simple plan, but it's a plan, right? And what a plan does is make you very unreactive and not impulsive, right? So that's exactly what I'm not. I'm not an impulsive, reactive trader. I just wait all day, if necessary, for that setup. And if it doesn't happen, I don't have a trade with this pair, right? But I have other pairs I can trade, right? So yeah, just keep it very simple, plan ahead. So, you know, people on my mentorship session, right? So a lot of people on my mentorship session work, right? And what they do is, right, they have a 9 to 5 or whatever. And then what they do, they say, right, Tom, I get straight in from work and then I trade the New York Open. That just sounds like a recipe for disaster because you haven't planned anything. You're just, you know, imagine you just get in, you take your shirt off, right? You pour yourself a beer, you sit down, you get in from work, you're like, right, I'm here to trade. You will be trying to jump into trades impulsively. You will, right? So you can't be like that. You have to plan. But the most important hour of my day is, it's not even an hour. It takes me about half an hour, 40 minutes, right? Is my most important, all good in my trading comes from my, let's just say an hour, the first hour, where I go through all of these currency pairs on the right, even the commodities, the indices, oil and gas, right? I look at all of these and I basically say, do I have a trade? Yeah, and then once I do that, I put them all in here, guys. So this is the free Discord. So once I've gone through all of those pairs, this is what I end up with. Right? Now, I'm not going to trade them all, obviously, right? That would be craziness. You know, some days you have lots, some days you have a few, some days you have not many, some days you have a lot, some days, you know, you have a few, right? All I'm looking for is simple price action. Now, yeah, and then all I do is write those trades down, and they're the ones that I focus on. And then like today with New Zealand dollar, US dollar, right? I say to myself this, I see this big bearish red candle. I drop down to the H1 and I said, if we break this low, right, I will get in on this trade. We broke that low. I got in on this trade and started selling. My stop loss is up here and I'm looking to take price lower. So I just very methodically took the trade that I planned. Right. And then as long as I follow that plan, I'm happy with my trading. If this comes up and stops me out, no problem. Right. I followed my plan. If it comes down and hits target, no problem. I followed my plan. Yeah, but don't be impulsive. You know, and I know probably a lot of you are listening in, guys, and doing that's exactly what I do. Or I take a look at the charts in my lunch hour, or I, you know, get in from work and start pounding the New York Open. It's not going to be a good idea, right? So what you should do, you know, for those of you who do work and have a 9 to 5, spend an hour before you go to work in the morning and analyze all the currency pairs you look at, and then just go to, you know, and then you'll end up with a short list of trades, and then plan them. Put your alarms in, right? So at the start of the day, I would have had an alarm here, right? I would have had an alarm here a bit before it breaks that level, right? And then when I hear it, I go, right, okay, it's at the level, right? It's come down, I'll start selling, right? So that's what you should do. Plan it. And then when you're at work, your alarm will go off. You can set it up on your phone. Your alarm will go off. Then tell your boss, you know, like, I need another number 2. It's like, this person's got a problem. He doesn't stop going to the toilet. And then you have a quick look. See if your trade has played out as you planned. If it has, enter. If it hasn't, stay away. And it's that kind of simple, slow, methodical thinking that will stand you in good stead for trading, right? Don't jump at the charts, try and, you know, get into trades. It won't end well. Plan everything, right? And it only takes an hour in the morning. So if you're serious about trading, do that. If you're not serious about trading, don't. Right? But you have to, it's like anything, you have to put the time in to get the rewards, right? And that first hour of my day is so important, right? I normally do that for an hour and then I bugger off to the gym, right? And then I'll see what the markets are like, see if anything's shaping up. All right, guys. Yeah, if you're enjoying my analysis, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash the like button, guys. If you haven't already, please go check out our website, www.simply-forex.com. We've got all of our premium trading education on there. And also, guys, don't forget to sign up with Pepperstone. We will give you a free VIP entrance to our VIP Academy, if that all made sense. And you'll get a free Essential TradingView subscription. It's a no-brainer. All right, guys. And on that note, I will say adios, amigos. Have a great rest of your trading week and see you again soon, guys. And as always, the editor is not here, so I have to end the stream myself. This is where I have to do technical stuff and it all goes wrong. Adios.